Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast. I am Flash, and with me is the squad. Dash over here.
Yeah.
The best producer in the game, Andre Wingate.
What up, y'all?
And my man, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, C1. What's up?
I done gave up. I'm about to cut my hands off. I keep going through this with my hands, man. It's gonna be like Tropic Thunder, you know what I mean? Tickling the ivory.
Just cut that man's hands off. So this is a podcast where we talk about some sports, some games, and any and everything in between. I promise you. Usually I kick this off to somebody else, but I think I'm in the habit now of not doing that. So I'm just going to talk about shit that I've been doing, which is, in the streaming world. There's a movie on Amazon Prime called The Vast of Night. Because I think it's an Amazon original. It's kind of like, it's very like thought provoking. So it requires, you got to really be watching it. This shit is dope. It has some weird premise where like, it's like these people that are like, I think it's
like Inception thought provoking
50s, not that deep, but like it's a real technical movie. You would probably enjoy it because I think it's a very like, filmy kind of movie, if that makes any sense. Speaking of movies.
Well, before you move to that point, I think it's actually a problem that I pay for Amazon Prime and I do not utilize the video, like Amazon videos and all that kind of stuff. I don't watch the movies. I don't watch the TV shows.
I've been using it a lot lately. A lot. There's a lot of shit on there. Like,
I hope you at least seen The Boys.
I've seen like the important stuff, or I don't want to call it important, but I've seen like the big stuff. So like The Boys, Jack Ryan, like I've seen that stuff. But like to just say I'm gonna sit here, but to say like I'm just gonna sit here and like go through the Amazon originals and see what they've got, and I'm gonna check this out. Like like it's Hulu, Netflix.
I mean, the interface is
Disney Plus, and then I always say I'm gonna get to Amazon, and I never end up getting to Amazon.
Yo, Man in a High Castle. Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I've been eyeing it. I haven't. Yeah. I'm gonna take that dive.
There's decent things there on Amazon, but like, so Tenet has been pushed back to, what was it, August 12th.
August 12th?
August 28th. Since when?
Uh-oh.
They pushed it back
fact check. Quick fact check on that, but I think whatever August date it is, I think, well, first of all,
I think it was the 12th.
By then, I think
I'm looking it up.
The capacity of
August 12th.
August 12th. Yeah. Okay, so by then I feel like the capacity in where we get to movies and like where everybody is with reopening, I feel like right now the different companies have different plans for. So AMC has one particular plan for reopening, and Regal's doing something. Most of the guidelines are kind of the samey, obviously mask, but most of them are going to be operating 50% capacity. Some of the theaters are going to be like, okay, nobody can sit. It's like every other row type of thing. So you got to skip a row and nobody can sit in that row. Some of the other theaters, it's like, if you're not in a party together, it's every like several seats you have to be in between or whatever. So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan for that going forward for however long. Who knows how long.
I'm not going to lie. For the past 4 years, unless it's been a Marvel movie, unless it's been a Marvel movie, I go to matinees because I want to go in there and either only sit with old people or sit with no people.
Right. Yeah, because exactly.
And it's cheaper.
Right. And I don't
I'm with that.
Exactly. And I haven't fashioned myself. Again, me and Sia talked about this a while ago on one of the podcasts we had a few months ago, but it's like, I don't really care to be going to the movies like that anymore. Especially if it's unless it's like those big, like, you know, okay, I went to Endgame and shit. Like, okay, but I'm like, movies is like, in comparison, it can be kind of a trash, just like experience. Like, I don't need to spend all that money for shit that I can do at home.
Facts.
You know, in better quality a lot of the times.
Yeah, and movies come out,
Xbox right
you know,
after.
so much faster
Like,
now than back in the day. Like back in the VHS day, it took like almost a whole year before you got to see the video again.
I think for me though, I would make the exception for Tenet, like 100%, because that's how strongly I feel about Christopher Nolan. First of all,
but here's my problem with it, because here's what I think is gonna happen. I agree with you that that's a movie that you would see in a theater. But that one, because it's a Christopher Nolan movie, you know there's going to be those parts where someone in that theater is going to be like, oh my gosh! And like, they're going to say something, they're going to freak out, you're going to miss something important that someone says or does.
I'll be mad. That's
my thing. I hate missing that one sentence or that one word that's kind of key because someone's reacting to something. So that's my only thing, my only gripe.
I watched his first movie the other day. I thought I had watched it before, but I realized I didn't after watching it.
What movie is that?
It's called Following. It's this black and white joint. It's 1998, and and he did it in black and white. It had one of the lowest budgets for a movie like ever for a full feature. It was like $6,000. He made this movie with, and you can see where they spent $6,000. But again, obviously it was in black and white, and there was a lot of scenes. Hearing him talk about it now is a lot of scenes where, you know, they were very limited with sound and a lot of immersion things. But the movie was only like an hour and 12 minutes or something like that. But it's very like good. Like for that being his first movie and knowing where he goes from there, you're like, oh, this is a good, like, this is a good movie. It's not like something where you would look at it and you're like, you know, a lot of first time movies for directors, you're like, oh yeah, okay, you expect it to be, it's whatever. But this was like a good movie. It's, you know, you got to pay attention again. And it has a lot of Christopher Nolan satire, which is, he's big on time. And that's always like a thing in his movies. He times jumps like, you know, back and forth between time periods, and and there can be other intertwined time things with that, but it's like Christopher Nolan's great.
So I've heard.
Like, and I don't know. We'll see. You know, again, I wanna go see Tenet. I think that's kind of.
I think we got that much.
Yeah, I think it's been pushed back enough.
Yeah. I'm ready to see it.
Because I think there's something about that movie where they're like, look, guys, we cannot put this available to streaming. Like, this has to be a movie theater movie. Yeah,
I mean, this is the proverbial follow-up to Inception at this point. So, you know, I mean,
But it's kind of smart because this is our quote unquote, like, you know, summers is usually like when all the big blockbuster movies come out. But because of COVID, you didn't really have big summer blockbusters. So this is more like a coming, I don't want to say a coming out from COVID party because we're technically not out of COVID, but like a welcome back to the public sort of kind of thing. You know, movie theaters are opening up. We need a big movie to kick it off, and this is that kickoff movie. There's no Marvel movie to go up against it. There's no superhero movie whatsoever. There's no big budget action movie that's out there. Like, this is the movie.
Everything got pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pushed out to next year, like, right.
So it's kind of, I don't know if they fully intended or planned for this, but it's smart and it's working out for them for now. But we'll see once August 12th rolls around.
True. So who's got a topic?
I got one.
Hey.
So the NFL may be coming up this year. We may get a season.
Who knows?
With that being said, you know, we had the Browns last year, and the year before that we had the 49ers and so on and so forth. So my question is, where is that overhyped team that we think is going to fall on their face? So I wanted to kick this off real quick.
Can I say Cowboys, or is that like every year?
That's it.
I mean, I'm talking about.
That was my answer.
I'm talking about the media specifically overhyping a very specific team, and based on a team that did really bad.
But are we
year.
overhyping the Cowboys this year? The biggest thing about them is that they haven't signed Dak.
Last year.
They say the Cowboys are going to the playoffs every year. So
that's the best roster.
But see, I don't be listening to those people because it's always Cowboy fans that are saying that, and everyone knows Courtney and I we don't like the Cowboys and we can't stand the fans. But I mean, I feel like this season's a little bit less than what we normally hear.
I think it's all the hype around Tampa right now, and Tom Brady going there, and
but I don't
think
that much hype around it.
I mean, I feel like maybe
here's my thing with football. In football, you have to split football up into quarters. So we'll take the Cowboys for example. The Cowboys came out hot last,
as they do every year.
The first 4 games last season, they came out hot. Now everyone was saying, or at least the people that aren't Cowboy fans, they were saying, well, look who they were playing. They were playing Washington. They were playing the Dolphins. And
the Giants.
The Giants. So they're like, look at their opponents. So that's the thing. One, opponents is one thing. Two, in the beginning of the season, teams that are new are trying to figure out themselves and how they work and stuff like that. And some teams that aren't new, they're playing together, they're already full of themselves. And then there are other teams like the Ravens. We saw what they were doing, but everybody was like, oh, but that was the Dolphins that they did that against. Can they, contain this? Can this be consistent? And it was consistent. So I feel like my pick would kind of be Tampa Bay because I think no matter what, I think Tampa Bay will come out hitting all cylinders because it's Tom Brady, Gronk's back. Like everyone's just going to be fired up.
Don't be hyped just because they got Brady.
Yeah. Now I think what the problem with Tampa is going to end up becoming is, can they have a consistent running game? How good can the defense is? Because we know Barrett is going to get to the quarterback. Like he's got some gripes about his contract, but he's going to get to the quarterback. But outside of him, like, is the defense actually a top 10 defense, or is the defense a Super Bowl caliber defense?
Right.
And then the other thing is, how long is Tom Brady's arm going to last? Because his arm was looking okay in the beginning of last season. And then, October, November, and December came, and next, he throwing pick sixes to Logan Ryan,
The weapons that he has now are going to make it to where his arm can go another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
But can he throw it? I mean, now he can throw it underneath.
Arguably the best receiving core in football.
But when Evans is going deep, or when Godwin's going deep, is he going to be able to hit them deep? That's the thing. Like, he can hit them when the underneath routes, the slants, all that kind of stuff.
You have to change up the playbook a little bit for that.
Well, we also got to look at Russell. Jameis Winston last season was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. I believe he was like in the top 3 in sacks taken. Right. And what we got to think of is a guy as agile and I wouldn't call Jameis mobile, but I would say he's agile. Like a quarterback that's as agile as Jameis got sacked the most in the league. Then what's somebody that's slow-footed like Tom Brady gonna do behind that same line? And they really didn't do a lot to address the offensive line.
But being agile, like it's a blessing and a curse,
right?
Because you're agile, so you hold on to the ball a little bit longer, thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to escape this guy or leave this guy. Brady, he knows he can. If that D lineman or if that linebacker's coming right at him, he's throwing that ball into the dirt, he's throwing it to the sideline, or he's checking it down to Jones, in the backfield.
And I mean, that's the whole thing is he checks down to, James. He's usually so used to checking down to James White. He don't have a James White in Tampa.
Yeah, but he still got Gronk, who's been sitting down and doing nothing for 2 years. And that's gonna be his safety net with OJ Howard.
I don't think Gronk's gonna have any success until he makes right with Steve Harvey.
What?
He need to get them brown Legos for him again.
Oh yeah, he's wiped his the Steve Legos.
Yeah, man. Everything. The whole world done gone to hell since that happened, man.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say my pick for this is gonna be the Arizona Cardinals. I think everybody is. They've done a lot to turn over a lot of their roster.
Low-key hype team.
Man, I don't know if they're hyped.
is
they're hyping up Murray. Like people are calling Murray like a sleeper MVP candidate.
Yeah. How did we get here already?
But I don't know. People are hyping up the Cardinals, but they are definitely hyping up Murray.
Well, they said they're saying, well, now he's got DeAndre Hopkins, and then they went and drafted Isaiah Simmons, and they made all these changes on the roster. They got rid of David. They got rid of David Johnson's inflated contract. They re-signed Kenyon Drake, and they've done so much stuff with their roster. But the problem is they didn't do anything with the offensive line, and the defense can be a lot better with an improved linebacker core. They had a Devondre Campbell.
When they drafted that offensive lineman in the second or third round, something like that.
They drafted Isaiah Simmons too.
Well, he was in the first round. You couldn't. I mean, I'm not mad at that pick because he fell to them. Like you just can't pass up on him.
Yeah, that was right.
He's a once in a generation defensive player.
But the problem is, again, very similar to Tampa. They didn't do much to upgrade the offensive line. And it's like Kyler was running for his life. He was looking like Russell Wilson without the Russell Wilson stats to match, and that's a problem because Russell will be making magic out there, and you can't expect your second-year quarterback to be making magic like Russell Wilson.
But even with them getting Hopkins,
nothing, right? They did do something, and it's definitely not the worst offensive line in the league.
No,
I mean they re-signed their left tackle.
No, I thought they were the worst offensive line in the league.
Yeah, they were. They were literally the worst offensive line last year.
Yikes!
And then everybody was a lot of the draftniks, including myself, were projecting in mock drafts for them to take, an offensive guard or a right tackle, and they didn't go for it, which I understand with Simmons falling. Like, you can't say no to Isaiah Simmons in the spot that they were in the situation that they're in, but they didn't do much to address the offensive line, and for that to be the issue, and for David Johnson to have the injury history
what they ended up doing in subsequent rounds.
Huh?
They got a couple. They got a couple receivers. Like I think they built up. I don't know about the receivers. But I know they built up on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Then they got. Oh my gosh, I don't feel like pulling it up, but I guess I'll pull it up right now.
I wish I had it up, but y'all got my phone.
You got it.
Oh no, they got.
You used to have a computer behind the phone.
So they got Josh Jones in the third round. They got a defensive tackle in the fourth round. Another defensive tackle in the fourth round.
Yeah, one defense.
So like I said, they built up the defense.
Oh, well,
a linebacker in the sixth round and a running back in the seventh. So they did not draft a single wide receiver. They didn't draft a single offensive playmaker until the seventh round.
Wow.
But
I felt like.
But offensive playmakers, they weren't necessarily lacking because now their top three receivers are Hopkins, Fitzgerald, and Kirk. So they're fine there. I would assume they need to beef up on the tight end spot, but because of the offense that they play, they'll be all right. They got Drake in the running back spot. So the offensive line, on the offensive side, the offensive line was definitely
they drafted a tackle.
Yeah, in the third round?
No, the first round.
No,
the first round they drafted Isaiah Simmons.
They got Simmons in the first round.
Right.
It was like Josh Jones in the second?
Third. They didn't have a second round pick.
Yeah. I remember I was projecting that they were going to trade back. I thought they were going to try to get more picks, but.
Yeah, they had the first, a third, two, fourth, a six, and a seven. But people love their draft. Like, they got some pretty good grades.
That's what I'm saying. I'll tell you this: everything that the Cardinals did in the offseason, everything the Cardinals did. Yeah, everything the Cardinals did in the offseason was like super overly praised, like A plus.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why the Cardinals aren't necessarily a high pick for me, because they're still in arguably the toughest division in football. Like no, look at it. Seattle. No matter what Seattle does with their personnel, there is a rumor that Clowney's going back to Seattle. Obviously, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but there's a rumor. It's a high rumor that he's going back to Seattle. He didn't get as many sacks, but we all know what he means in terms of pressure on the quarterback. But as long as they got Russell Wilson, for some strange reason, that team just always finds a way to go no worse than 9-7. And if they're 9-7, they're still finding a way to sneak into the wild card. That's just the way it goes. 49ers, they're still, even no matter what we think about Jimmy G, they're going to bring a high running game. If their receivers stay healthy, because that was their problem last year. If their receivers stay healthy, they'll have a decent passing game. They've got one of the best tight ends in the game, outside of Ertz and Kelsey. And on the defensive side, the defense is still there and should be healthy, because their only problem was they were hurt in the secondary, but that D-line is still one of the best in the game. And then St. Louis is a toss-up, or not St. Louis, my bad. The Rams, LA, they're a toss-up. We don't know if they're going to bounce back. We don't, they got rid of Gurley, so we don't know if Sean McVay is still going to be able to run the same offense, with the running plays that he was doing, all the jet sweeps, all that kind of stuff with just.
They got Cam Akers. Cam Akers is going to be a decent fill-in. I'll tell you that.
But they should. But they're getting same thing with them. Their receivers were hurt, so they're getting Cup was hurt for I think 6-7 games, something like that.
Yeah.
So they'll be getting him back. So who
knows? They
knows?
drafted a receiver too. I think they drafted Van Jefferson. I think.
And then obviously they still have Aaron Donald, so the defense should do something.
And Jalen Ramsey. Yep.
And Ramsey. So I mean, it's a tough division. So
and they lost Dante Fowler.
I wasn't necessarily giving them high praise for this season. Right. I think a team that I was thinking, and outside of Tampa, because I'm just not big on Tampa, just because I don't know what Tom Brady's really going to do with his arm wise. I think a team for me is necessarily in the AFC North, or I mean the AFC East. I don't think Buffalo is necessarily going to be, because Buffalo was slept on last year. A lot of people didn't take them seriously, and they snuck by in certain games. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if they're going to be able to sneak up on people this year. With no Tom Brady, that division is technically wide open.
Oh yeah.
The Jets aren't. I'm not expecting the Jets to be a world beater team, but they should be a little bit better. As long as Le'Veon Bell is healthy and Adam Gase is going to use him properly. Y'all know I love Le'Veon Bell. So if Adam Gase uses him properly, the Jets should be formidable, but I'm not saying they're going to win the division.
No.
The Bills and the Patriots are still going to be the top two teams in the division. And then the Dolphins, no matter what, should be better collectively than what they were. They were good towards the end of the season, but we all know how trash they were at the beginning of the season.
Right.
So, but everybody's picking that the Bills will run away with it, that they'll win the division, no problem. And I understand they beefed up the team. They got Stephon Diggs. The young defense is now getting older. Allen has another year under his belt and stuff like that. But my thing is, I'm like, I don't necessarily, Buffalo always lets you down when you rely on them. And you can ask people in their fan base that, because they know it. They should have this many.
Yeah, at least one.
So,
at least one.
They wouldn't have got 4, but they could have had one of these.
You're right. So they went to this many, and they didn't get this one. They didn't get that one. They didn't get that one, and they didn't get that one.
Like
3 in a row, though. 3 in a row is still very, very remarkable, though. Like to be able to have that kind of dominance over your conference.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is they always went up against. I'm not necessarily even saying like like a dynasty team, but they went up against powerhouses in the NFC.
Yeah. Cowboys.
But to lose to the Giants on the field goal, like
that one, was the one they should have had.
Yeah. It's just it sucks for them. But that's why I'm like, I don't like, a lot of people are high on them, but I'm like, I gotta see it. Like I don't really know, because that Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys last year, the Cowboys beat themselves in that game. Yeah. We as being the Eagles, like, how up and down our season was, and we ran through Buffalo last year.
Right.
So who knows what Buffalo is going to be like, and they still couldn't beat the Patriots. So
I mean, the Patriots had a really stout defense last year.
And that same defense is coming back, like minus like 1 or 2 players, but as a whole. And the thing is, and they still got Bill Belichick. Like Bill Belichick doesn't need a star. Like he had stars in Darrelle Revis, Ty Law, if you want to count Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis as stars, but Richard Seymour, like Harrison, like he's had stars, and when he has stars, they go to Super Bowls. When he just has guys that play within the system, they're a complete defense, and they still go to the playoffs and at least do work. But the offense needs to do something. When he has stars on the defense, it doesn't matter what the offense has. He's going to do what he's got to do. But when the defense is just a collective,
get enough opportunities.
Yeah, when the defense is just a collective, that's when the offense needs to do its thing. You know, like when Tom Brady threw for 50 some odd touchdowns and Randy Moss caught 23 of them.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, man.
Who else? You got a topic?
Oh, you talking about me?
Yeah.
Reed don't be saying names. He'll be looking.
Yeah, I got a little topic. Coming soon to Henri Flash's favorite video game of all time, Madden 21. They have The Yard. Some leaked footage. Or not.
All right, everybody. Here comes the rant.
A screenshot of, I guess, the mode on the menu. And it just says The Yard and some little, exclusive text. But apparently, is going to be a 6v6
backyard rules style
football that takes your face of the franchise character.
No, I think it's I don't think it's that specifically. They said they used the word superstar. So I think it's going to be a separate. The word or the impression is that this is the my player, my park situation.
So, given that is potentially what this game mode is,
it's because Madden's trash. That's why you blanked out.
I mean,
see how easy that is? See it I'm not surprised.
That's not trash. I mean, it is trash. It definitely is trash. But the potential here, game mode, given the level of what the consoles can produce, I really think that there is some flexibility here on where this game could really go. Maybe I have too high of hopes.
Man, fuck EA Sports. Fuck Madden. Because let me tell you what. Okay, in respect to this specifically, this is excellent. Okay, because effectively this is they're just like here's like pretty much his NFL Street integrated into Madden just without all the over the topness. Here you go. There's that. And I only say that this can be excellent if, well, first of all, if you're a franchise player, you're fucked. This is it. This plus Mutt equals nothing else is getting any attention in Madden ever again. So you can go ahead and wrap that shit up.
That was the first thought I had.
The most
it was like, they gonna add a my player mode?
You play exhibition, you play online head-to-head franchise. They don't give a shit about you. You might as well just go ahead and chalk that up, cut that part out of the game. This is what I keep telling you.
2K franchise players.
Separate that game from a franchise simulation experience, and then do all that other bullshit over here separately. Because your bullshit players that play that are here for that, they're going to buy that crap anyway. And they're going to buy $300 worth of microtransactions over the course of the yearly release of the game. And there you go. So take the Yard, which is your my player, my park experience, plus Mutt, and just separate it and put it over here and just handle it differently. Give it out for free because you're only making money on the microtransactions anyway. So give it out for free. That way you could not only increase your bullshit player base, but those same people are going to buy even more packs and shit, whatever they do in that stupid ecosystem. And then
what if this is EA's response to their fear? Because like with the new license, like they don't technically have sole
No, just simulation.
Right, just over simulation.
Yeah,
so the thing is, like, what if the
yard
yard is
playgrounds?
what if the yard is their fear of, well, what if an NFL Street does come back?
Correct.
And it's successful. So let's throw this in here. What if like, even though they already had the KO mode in there.
And that shit's still in there too. So
but like all this arcade stuff, like they're all like thinking about what are the possibilities that these other developers could do. Let's just go ahead and throw it in our game so we can tell everybody, look, instead of buying multiples of these, you can just buy our game and get it all in once. Like, I just feel like it's EA's fear of fan base even going to. You're
probably right, and I think 2K is in a very favorable position when it comes to that, because it doesn't have to be quote unquote simulation, but I'm sure they could push a line so fine.
I mean, 2K8 wasn't
that it would be just underneath what would be considered simulation, but so much more than an arcade experience. I feel like they would find a middle ground between those two things.
Was
and
it
be like,
2K8 just that? They couldn't make simulation football.
We're talking about all pro football 2K. Well, it wasn't simulation specifically. That the deal wasn't that at the time. It was just players. It was just players. NFLPA specifically, and licensing stadiums and all that, logos and all that stuff. So they were able to. That's why they were able to take Hall of Fame players, because once players retire, they're no longer part of the NFLPA. So retired players aren't in that. So that doesn't, so they were able to use those legend Hall of Fame players. Again, this game could be right in between there, and I think that's a very valid point, because in their fear of that, it'd be good on them to try to get ahead of that, whatever that game becomes, and say, okay, here's that experience in our game. But more so than that, I think this is just, again, this is them pushing the microtransaction train. Like, that's what this is. This is more of that. They were like, well, how can we get some more of these microtransactions? And then it was like, yo, look at what 2K does over here with this my player, my park shit. Yo, can we just do that too? And somebody was like, I mean, we could. Like,
a towel about to be $10,
like,
hanging from your waist.
Hey,
I know we said to take stuff from 2K, but we meant like from their association and taking that to franchise.
Nah,
but they instead said, well, let's take the park and bring that to the yard.
So, yeah, right. So now imagine like all the, like when you can take your guy into these games, now you can get specific equipment, fucking helmet, visors, like all kind of shit, pads, armbands and shit, like different gloves, different cleats, like, and they're gonna charge for this.
Yep.
It'll probably be in a loot box.
Don't say that. Don't do that. Don't do that. God.
It's gonna be.
I was like, damn, how could it get worse? And then you said that.
But in the form of card packs. So it's gonna be a card pack, similar to what they do in my team for 2K.
It'll be like, you earned the red glove.
Right, like just the left one though. Like, what the fuck I'm gonna do with just that? Like,
on one hand and left catches.
Oh my god. I don't.
Odell.
Man, fuck EA Sports, man. They're bullshit. These teams, these Madden development teams.
It's like, it feels like, and not to get political or nothing, but like, it feels like when the president was elected and you can choose whichever, if you're watching, you can choose whichever, because somebody felt like this at one point or another. And, it's like, you're like, damn, it's about to be real trash here, but I hope he does well, because everybody wins if he does well, but like, it's probably not about to go well.
Right.
It's that feeling right now with the way they're rolling this out. And then they're like, oh, franchise guys, we got something for you. Just give me a little time.
Are you comparing this to the last presidential election?
Again, like I said, you can pick, for the viewers, you can pick whichever presidential election made you feel that way, because it was the same feeling.
True.
Oh, okay, so you're just saying any presidential.
I'm just saying generally, any presidential election. Not, like I said, not to get political, but yeah, it's that feeling, and it's like you want EA to, you want there to be some like, we fooled you. We added mad stuff to franchise mode.
Yes, that's exactly what.
And we fixed the gameplay, and we took out the microtransactions, and we did everything the right way. And you know what? We're just gonna charge $10 more for the game. I'd be cool with that.
Right.
Nobody would care about the microtransactions enough if they just had a great game.
Right. The game played as it should.
Because at the end of the day, it's your choice if you decide to even buy the product or buy the microtransaction, like spend the money for it.
I'll say this, and the real thing we got from those screenshots is, the yard was a big deal, seeing that on there and all of that. But the big deal to me was, I was like, the menu looked exactly the same as it did in 20. Like, they didn't even change the menu.
No, they ain't got time for that shit.
Like, don't care about somebody that. Ain't take
the menu doesn't make them money.
UI for the main menu, like, come on.
No. The menu has gotten worse every single year because they realize it does not make them money.
No,
I'm like,
yo, that menu screen could be a blank image and it just has Madden 20, Madden insert year.
Bro, I remember. So this is when Madden cared. I remember when you turned on Madden, and then you started to hear Brian Dawkins with his hype speech.
Oh yeah.
Then they came a couple years later, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna throw Ray Lewis in there, and we're gonna really give y'all a hype message." Yeah. But you don't skip past that. You actually watched that before you went to the game. Now they're just like, "All right, we're just gonna show y'all the little load bar." And then once the load bar is done, then we're going to take up to the main menu. The main menu ain't really nothing. We know what y'all want to go to.
There ain't shit here. There's nothing here. There's nothing
to
see here.
They're like, man, we spending way too much money on this.
You got this face of the franchise here, though, that nobody cares about.
It's like, these aren't the menu screens you're looking for. So
I love face of the franchise. It's my favorite game mode ever. I love it.
I'll tell you what happened with me in face of the franchise. I got drafted to the daggone Dolphins, and then Kenyon Drake couldn't run the ball the way they had him set up. The offensive line was trash. You can't motion receivers as a quarterback. You can't you can't use the running back. So you hand them off the ball, and he just runs straight into defenders. This mad stuff you can't do. You got guys you can't.
So you can't play the quarterback position.
All you are is the quarterback in face of the franchise.
Right, but the quarterback that can't
do what quarterbacks do.
Yeah, you get the 4th and inches, you on the 2-yard line, they pull you off the field. They're going to kick a field goal. You like...
No, coach.
Is that the experience they wanted me to have? Like,
we're going for it, coach.
Well, not, coach. I think we should go for it.
I'm like, I'm on the field. I should be able to override anything coach says because I'm on the field. And if you pull a kicking team on the field, you have too many men on the field.
Realistically, you can't do that until you get some type of status. Like Kyler Murray last year, he couldn't just at any point be like, no, well, okay, that's a bad example because that's rookie coach and rookie quarterback.
So maybe.
But let me see here. All right, perfect example. Mason Rudolph. He goes in there. Big Ben's hurt, all that kind of stuff. He goes in, he plays. Mason Rudolph cannot be on that field telling Mike Tomlin, no, Mike, I'm staying out here. We're going to go for a 4th down right now. Mike Tomlin's like, no, man, I'm the Super Bowl winning coach. You're the quarterback that just now starting to play. You do what I tell you to do. Once you've actually done something, you've won something, then we can have a discussion. But no, you don't have anything under your belt to have.
Yeah, but if I'm the quarterback and my center is on, and my center's on the same page as me, what's to stop me from being like, yo, snap the ball, man? Come on.
What's to stop you? What's stopping is the coach calling timeout.
You probably gonna get released if you make some Rudolph. But in that moment,
for his pockets
to go with C, add that level of immersion, be able to go to the sideline, have that conversation with the coach, like, yo, you want Philly? He like, nah, I really don't want Philly. You like, all right, bet. And then it's like, give you this dialogue options or these choices of like, this is what's going to happen if you decide to hike this ball and run Philly. If you get a success, you get a $200,000 bonus.
Wow.
You get to get some new shoes.
I don't know about the money, but maybe an XB upgrade or something.
Right. I'm about to Philly this bitch up.
I mean, because you see when you watch
If
NFL
that-
games,
if
like
that shit
when
don't work-
coaches are sending the punt unit out there, they're sending the field goal unit out there, like quarterbacks, they'll be like, but they don't always say,
Right.
they don't always do that. Those are like the Tom Brady's,
Right.
Peyton
It was only
Manning,
like 4
Ben
quarterbacks in the
Roethlisberger,
league.
Russell
Okay,
Wilson,
but
the
then
Super Bowl winning
okay, then
quarterback.
make that earnable. That's like a trait. Like
No,
earn the
don't make
dialogue
anything
option.
earnable, damn it, because that means everybody's just,
an
anything
RPG.
earnable in Madden is going to be cheese.
Yo,
No,
I'm
let's
really
not get
appreciating-
earnable.
I'm really appreciating how, as an Eagles fan,
where you
I'm
can
really-
have a dialogue option to audible or change calls in like 4th and short or critical situations.
Sure. I guess.
It's like on-field coach.
Sure.
I'm really appreciating how, as an Eagles fan, you found a way to say Philly, Philly in this podcast like 5 times.
It's great.
Hey, when is the Super Bowl?
I mean, it was definitely.
I'm
relevant.
respecting it, though. I'm respecting it.
Yeah, it was definitely relevant.
It was.
Nah, nothing wrong. Yeah.
Cause I mean, but to what we're talking about, that's what happened. They went to the sideline. They had a discussion. Doug was like, "All right, yeah, let's run it. Cool." It was the end of the half. It was almost a no-lose situation.
Right.
Like, granted, if it didn't work, we don't get any points out of that situation.
Or it could have been
But-
James Harrison.
Oh my God! That blew my mind that he ran back for that touchdown.
But the thing about that situation is Trey Burton was
felt
at
that.
least a quarterback through college, like up until he changed to being a tight end. So you at least had someone with a quarterback skill set throwing
Yeah,
the
Nick
ball.
Foles was a tight end in high school.
Yeah.
James Harrison, that was just a lucky play, and
Bro,
no
how
one.
he
That man was
fumbling
gassed
and
by the time he got to the
tumbling and
50-yard line, and
Bro.
no one could tackle him.
Yo, Chris
Larry
Berman.
Fitzgerald tried, but he just got blocked
Right.
right at the last moment, and then he just like collapsed into the end zone for the
Bro, it
touchdown.
was crazy.
That was a once in a lifetime style of a play.
That was
It
crazy.
was.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
I
lot
can't
of
wait
great
for this
Super
game to
Bowl
come out so we can
players.
stop ranting about it and start ranting about some other games.
There's
or
a
some
lot
other
of
stuff.
quality Super Bowl players.
No,
If
because then
we all buy
I
it,
still got a bitch about it for
I
at
still
least a
don't know if
month.
I'm buying it.
We know the game's
Buying it.
trash. We know
Buying
it's
it.
gonna be trash.
You and Dre splitting that.
Look.
You don't know that.
No, we ain't splitting it. Rebuying it.
I ain't lying. Shit. Let me tell you what. Oh man. Having not even okay, that all depends on the trial.
You got to give them your money.
Facts.
After all
That's
that-
what trials for.
After all that
Because-
trash you done talked about.
You got 10 hours to make you got a strong like
You get
sample
a
size.
couple hours in the yard.
You can
Okay. On the yard.
I just need to know what the gameplay is like at this point. Because I don't give 2 shits about the most because they're already shitting on franchise.
Yeah.
I don't play nothing else. So,
No, they gave us that message. They're like, they hear us.
But what are
they
they gonna
understand
do?
what we're going
Shit,
through.
they not
You're
gonna
going to
do
give
it.
us what we want.
To do.
they're not
So what
gonna
I'm
do
hearing-
it.
The game is done. What can you do?
Nothing.
Right.
So what I'm hearing about the gameplay is that basically the defense has been nerfed, and
Yeah,
you
that's
don't have
okay.
the
Did you play the
middle
close beta?
linebacker. Nah, I didn't.
No, it was people talking about
So
the beta.
So I found out how people qualified for the beta and how they determined it. They basically picked the 10,000 people who played the game the most on each console.
Oh my
basically.
god.
And you weren't on there?
Right?
This year I wasn't on there because I played PoE a lot. I played a lot of other games over the last few months that took me away from Madden for little stretches.
I knew
And it
this
was
year
even-
wasn't going to be me. I put Madden down by December.
I even had a couple of weeks where I uninstalled the game. I even had a couple.
I think
But I'm typically a year-round Madden player.
What'd you say?
I said I'm typically an all-year Madden player, so it's
There you
weird.
are.
I
to,
am
like,
too. That's how it's very
Both of y'all.
surprising that December I put it down.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Typically, I used to play till like the Super Bowl, like most people, like Super Bowl ends. You play for like a week or so afterwards, and you're like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
But over the last probably 2-3 Maddens, I've been playing all year round, and
Trash.
it's not. This don't feel like a game that's gonna be worth playing all year round.
Doesn't feel like it because you've been playing that game
The yard
Yeah.
makes that
for the last
possible.
10 months.
Man, just give us NCAA football back.
Hey, that's lit too.
It's gaining some steam. You seen the article on ESPN?
I've seen articles for the past 5 years. We've been gaining steam for the past 5 years, and we're still at the same point.
Go ahead and just do it.
They brought it up, so we're gonna see how it's going on.
Unless the only reason, just as long as it's another team, that'd be all right. But don't tell me you split part of your team from your Madden team and say, hey, you guys, go just make that NCAA game real quick.
No.
Shit gonna be trash.
Nah, they need to take whoever they cut off the NBA Live team and bring them in on this.
Oh God.
They can't.
Because NBA Live actually had the gameplay right. There weren't enough modes and options.
Like it needs to have.
And head-to-head was trash. Their servers were trash.
Feature it had and more.
Look, live needs to come back.
Like the recruiting system, recruiting all those different prospects from pipeline state.
This is why
Courtney getting his tight end that he had for 7 years as a freshman.
Just change the damn name of the dude to be the same last name and called him his twin, and they all both had dreads and black, and they was fast. It's the end of their appearance.
You gotta play it for 7 years in a college game, man.
No, it was two different characters. But I would redshirt them both.
This man put Northwestern on the map and still lost the NCAA championship.
Yo, not even any of y'all. I beat y'all and then lose to Ohio. Yo, the NCAA championship, the NCAA, that was actually a tough game to win.
As it should be.
That, like Madden, Super Bowl, whatever. Fuck that. But you get in that fucking stadium, bitch. That bitch start rattling. Can't see none of your plays.
Bro, and imagine it now with the playoff format.
What?
Oh, that would be dope.
That'd be fire.
Still needs to be extended, but
playoff format with the homies.
Yeah.
I'll start off with under 3-star reputation school. I'm picking Northwestern, so you know.
Just give me Georgia Tech.
Syracuse at.
I don't think U of L is a 3-star school anymore.
Exactly. Probably like 1 star.
Nah.
Syracuse, ain't nobody going there.
They used to.
What about UNC?
They might still be 3-star. I would definitely select them. I would always go either UNC or U of L.
Man.
I have to see you there.
But actually, UNC might not anymore because now that they got Brown as their coach, that team's been getting 4 and 5-star recruits.
It's gonna be
and they weren't doing that these past couple of years, so they might not be a 4-star or a 3-star team in the game world and stuff like that. So,
what about
I would love to
get that new job, SEC school.
You have to take Kentucky or
I ain't playing as Kentucky.
Nah.
Yo, the funniest thing would be when the people get fired. Oh man.
No, when you're playing with the homies and y'all going after the same recruit and you see his top 3 schools and you see all 3 are user controlled teams and you just sitting there praying like, bro, please come to my school. I done done all these pitches. I done give you this, give you that. Like I done promised you this. I stopped recruiting other people from your position.
An all-user league of what?
Yeah, an NCAA 130 users.
Oh.
I want nothing to do
that
with
would never work.
Because that's
a community.
If you have 130 users, that's at least 125 people that's going to be pissed off.
Man.
There would be no discussions to be had.
It would never work.
Man.
There would be no discussion.
That guy that's controlling
at least be parity.
He knows he's not getting any 5-star, 4-star, or even a 3-star recruit. He might get 1 3-star. But
if the stick skills are there, though,
can win. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're not winning Minnesota, games, you're not. They're only the best schools with the best recruits. Outside of your gameplay skill, because there's going to be some people that can take those lower level schools. But like if you're thinking about NCAA, so there's an NCAA 14, like NCAA 06 with that dude from Michigan on the cover. I can't remember.
No, I don't think Robinson was on 06.
No, I think it definitely was 06.
NCAA, you said 06?
Yeah.
06. Howard.
Yes.
Desmond Howard.
Because that's when they had the little impact player white emblem that would start flashing when they be in the zone.
Yeah.
Like that was basically what X Factor is, but it wasn't overkill.
Right.
It wasn't overpowered. They would go into the zone, they'd break a couple of tackles, but they wouldn't just be unstoppable.
Correct.
Or they'd make a big hit.
Right.
It might force a fumble. But it wouldn't be anything super crazy.
Yeah, like X Factor.
EA was great with that then.
Yeah. That team at least.
Like Reggie Bush, he was popular as fuck on that game. Not even being on the cover of the other ones, obviously, but that game in particular, having that impact player thing. He go in the zone and then you hit a spin move. If he was in the zone and go into slow motion and break into that little kind of mini cutscene-ish type mid-play.
Yeah.
NCAA 06 is a different time, ahead of its time.
Yeah. But this is why all these companies need competitors. Because all these games are starting to suffer. Like as great as 2K basketball was, it's been on like a steady decline. And now I feel like it's hit a point where people are like, I don't have to play it. Like whatever.
I mean, it's getting to that Madden point where people are either like, I haven't bought the last 3 2Ks. The only reason I have the one I have now is because it's on Game Pass.
Right.
But you're either like me where you're like, I'm not buying it this year, but if it's on Game Pass, I'll download it. Right. Or you're like how we are with Madden. You put the clown mask on once a year and you go and purchase it. And you're like, after a week, you're like, why did I do this?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it sucks because, like I said, I've talked ad nauseum about over the years about Madden and the, ridiculous decline that's been on. And look, bring back 2K football, bring back NBA Live. Let's get this figured. And the funny part about the NBA Live thing is that that's not even like, you guys were forced to not make it. You couldn't make a game like 2K with football, but it was like, we're just not gonna make a game this year. like wait, what?
They just tapped out.
It's just like, yeah.
They just totally tapped out. Like, we're just gonna take this sneaker out of our behinds real quick.
Because they had taken too much time.
And we're gonna send these guys over to FIFA or something.
I don't know. They could have gotten back in. They just didn't. I don't know. Like, and
2K took over.
2K took over, and it's just like there's not going to be, and that game will continue to have no competition.
We've been getting 2K has been the same game for like 4 or 5 years.
It's like somebody.
I'm like, okay. People like, yeah, it's good this year and this, that, and I sucker myself into catching it on a sale when it's like $30 or whatever. And then I buy it, I download it, and I'll go, I hype myself up. I start my player mode for a little bit, and I'm like, nah. Then I'm like, all right, let me draft the team real quick. I draft the team. I jump into my park for maybe one day, and then maybe like by the end of the week, the game's deleted. And I'm like, same game.
Right.
And you sucking yourself into it.
I downloaded it off of Game Pass because Courtney was like, hey, we're doing an online association. Yeah. All right, I guess I'll join him.
Right.
That's how that went.
At least Madden tries to give you a smoke and mirrors. This new thing and this new mode and this that.
2K is like, here's 2K.
But here's the thing. Both games do the same thing to keep their fans. So Madden, the way they keep their fans, or at least get their fans to buy the game for at least another year, they'll throw a new mode in there. They're like, hey, we've thrown this mode in there, we've thrown that mode in there.
2K don't even
doing that.
2K hits you with the history. They're like, now they're playing on the Kobe heartstrings.
Yeah.
So they're like, I bet you they're gonna have all types of Kobe stuff in there. Yeah. So they're like, everyone, so you can play with number 8 Kobe, you can play with number 24 Kobe. When MJ was on the cover, they had the historic teams to where if you're playing with Bill Russell Celtics, like they had the footage actually looking black and white and kind of grainy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they had like the view looking like how the TVs were looking like back then. So 2K hits you with the history aspect of basketball. And Madden just hit you with, here's the new mode for this year. Have at it. We'll think of something new to sucker you with next year.
Yeah. And 2K, and they just, again, they low-key might be the worst of the worst when it comes to these microtransactions. We talk about Madden. 2K is like, oh my God.
You basically need $40 extra on top of the game just to actually be competitive in the game. Because you're going to walk into my park and everybody's going to be at 80 already, and you walk around with your sorry 67 hanging over you. Like
67? You mean 59?
59 and a brown T-shirt.
That's my God, with the gray sweatpants.
And you really got to be
looking like a bum.
And then you get to a point where you really question yourself, like, yo, should I throw some VC down for some clothes, or should I just put some more?
No, because you're gonna try to be that guy. You're like, no, I'm gonna grind to get to this 99.
People are not hopping on the court with you if you got a brown shirt. You literally can't experience a portion of the game because you ain't got the drip to fucking step on the court with somebody.
You know what? It's like when you have to worry about what kind of sneakers you're wearing in a video game. Right. I think the game is taking the wrong turn when you start worrying about
stuff. That shit Ben took the wrong turn. You're absolutely right though. Like
people are judging you.
Absolutely judging you.
Well, step on that circle and they will literally hop off.
And there's some jerk with a gray freak with a neon green afro and a Dr. J NBA All-Star special edition jersey.
Here's how it is.
Like you step on there,
you step on there like me. You get on a plain T-shirt. You just got on some joggers, and everybody's like, "No, we ain't hooping with you." But you step on there looking like Reed. You get on 2 shooter sleeves. You got on a fancy graphic tee, headphones on, and everything. They're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, definitely playing with you." All right, like. That's all it takes. You just gotta have the lick, and they're gonna hop on the court with you.
Double mellow.
Hey, all day.
# double mellow. Oh shoot! Wow. Yeah,
but it is.
It's like I said, gotta have a drip.
That's true.
So they don't take you serious.
Right.
I just want to make a play of 99 without buying any clothes.
I'm gonna take a break from 2K and Madden and just get a entanglement with some other game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that game is, but that's what I'm gonna do.
So I'm gonna say this as the
it probably comes out in August.
The elder statesman of as the elder statesman of the married club. I just want to say this, PSA. I'm just gonna look dead in the camera to make sure everybody understands how serious I am. Stay the hell out of those people's business, man.
So here's the thing.
No, just everybody out there.
Right. So since we're on this subject,
everybody out there, because you wouldn't
here's the funny thing about all this. Well, one, did anybody in here watch the Red Table Talk?
No. So this is what I'm saying. So like they're gonna do what they do because they're celebrities and they're gonna try to figure out how to monetize the situation that they're in or whatever. But at the end, I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just saying.
I wasn't even thinking you were talking.
Okay, cool. I'm just saying the world in general. It's just there's a lot of folks talking about something that you know what I'm saying. Like it's not your life. So it's like you wouldn't want everybody talking about like your parents' life. You know what I mean? Like
right. All right. So here's what I'm gonna tell you. One, I agree with you. Like. People's personal business is their personal business. If they decide, now granted it was August that put it out there, but if they decide to put their business out there, then they decide to put their business out there.
Right.
But here's the thing about this day and age, especially, I'm just gonna throw my generation in there. My generation is some suckers for gossip. Like when I tell you I woke up and as soon as I opened up Twitter and I saw the word entanglement trending on Twitter, I was like, why is entanglement trending? Now with me being curious, I clicked just to see. And to see that it was all related to Will and Jada and August and all that kind of stuff, I was like, Lord, what happened? And to this day, I still haven't even gone to watch the Red Table Talk to see what was said. I've just seen all the memes that popped up. The funniest one by far, and Ree, I was telling you about it, was the guy that did the voiceover of the Fresh Prince episode when his dad left, but he like, you know, flipped it and did it like with August and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, that one was hilarious. But Will and Jada, like, they get exposure from this. Now, granted, to my knowledge, they aren't working on any projects or anything like that, so it's not like it's gonna lead people to watch something. But I'm pretty sure if we look up August's album, like, it got mad streams because of this. So success for him on that. If Jada and Will are working on a project, it's gonna bring exposure to that. So it's all about exposure. But for the actual business of it, I don't want to watch it because I don't care what happened between them. People break up, people go through separation, stuff like that. Some people make it, like, for them, they came back together. Some people don't come back together. It's life, it's what happened. You know, all we do is when that reunion comes up, you know, you're like, oh, well, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, we don't go together no more. Oh, okay, all right. And then you move on to another topic, another subject. Right. Like, that's how I play it, at least. But, you know, the internet, especially Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like, they're gonna take that stuff and they're gonna run with it. They've done it with every single couple that's got some, you know, some type of status like that. Yeah. But the word entanglement is gonna be in our vocabulary. It's gonna ride for at least 3 months. I'm gonna give it 3 months, unless something huge happens. But if nothing huge happens, entanglement's riding for 3 months.
Don't you hate that? We just ride that.
Hey,
man, wasn't we talking about Kanye West running for president just a couple weeks ago or something like that?
And now it's not even.
There's just always a brand new distraction of what's going on. Like, oh, here's the thing the celebrities are doing right now, and, you know, like I said, I'll be trying not to get political. I'm gonna fall back on that because I'm gonna be all.
Is talking about Kanye getting political?
No, not even that. I'm just saying, like, in general, just, you know, there's just always something that's like, here's the celebrity thing that's happening right now, and meanwhile, everything's kind of like, let's be realistic. Like, everybody, you know, people are on Zoom meetings, and, you know, people aren't, you know, we're talking about students might not be able to re-enroll in their schools. They might have to go online only in colleges.
Some international students might have to go back to their country. ICE is saying if their schools go online, they can't stay here, which is ridiculous. But
it is. It's absurd. And it's just, and all these things are happening, and then you've got politicians talking about, the kids need to go back to public schools. Public schools need to reopen.
Okay, so I'm gonna touch on that. My mom, you know, she's still working in the school district and everything, and she is dreading going back to the building with all this, because the thing about COVID is we kind of have we don't have a handle on it, but we kind of have an understanding of how it's spread, how it's passed, different things like that. Wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize, be clean, do your part in, you know, in helping out spreading it. It's hard for adults to go out in public and wear masks. We've all seen the videos of adults in Target, Walmart, parking lots, whatever, you know, getting mad if someone just says, hey, could you please put a mask on? Or, hey, why aren't you wearing a mask? And they just blow up. Imagine, and my mom's an elementary school teacher. So imagine a kid in a building for 8-9 hours, whatever. They are not going to keep that mask on all day long. Kids sneeze, kids cough, little kids, they throw up and stuff like that. So
they spit when they talk.
Yeah, like the kids are going to be, and imagine kids trading masks like they're trading cards. Like, now there are going to be some kids that their parents are going to give them that talk like, hey, this is serious. Keep this mask on, be safe. Whatever your teacher tells you, if it's in line with this, do it. If you think your health is threatened, don't do it. Like, blah, 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 stuff like that. And then there's going to be those parents that, all right, have fun in school, do what you got to do. And it's just going to be, the control of it is just going to be, now, unless we're going to do like what Asian and European schools have been doing, like they've got kids in like boxes, you know, plexiglass and all that kind of stuff everywhere. But I don't think we're going to do those type of measures.
We don't care about education.
They ain't spending the money for that. Correct. And the thing is, the thing that's killing me is you have all these teachers out here that are going to be voluntarily exposing themselves, you know, for the purpose of just basically just going to work to earn their paycheck. And it's like, you know, it's bad enough, you know, the way companies were stretching, you know, what really is an essential worker. And at this point, we've proven as a country that school can work from home and it's safe, and the kids are safe this way. And not more importantly, but just as importantly, the teachers are safe. And to be able to put our teachers at risk, and a lot of these teachers are tenured, a lot of teachers are elderly, and a lot of these teachers, have, they're immunocompromised, and they're the exact types of people that may, be more susceptible to getting infected, and we're putting them at risk. And it's, it's all really just for the general purpose of trying to get the economy get back, rolling again. Yeah. And I just think
I think another thing is we don't want to, and when I say we, I mean we as a country, and then mainly the politicians. I think they don't want to pay or even come up with a plan to help people go through school at home. Because, for all of us, we've got the luxury. One thing that COVID has taught is that Wi-Fi is no longer a luxury. Wi-Fi is now a necessity.
Yeah.
And there are people that, when schools were shut down, people had to go home. There's some of us that have good Wi-Fi. There's some people that don't have good Wi-Fi. There's some people that don't have Wi-Fi still to this day. So it was hard. So it's hard for them to do that kind of stuff. We're on our laptops and phones and all that kind of stuff. Everyone doesn't have a laptop or even a desktop to go home to do work and stuff like that. So I think instead of them finding ways to, fund the schools to be able to send the kids home with laptops and stuff like that, I think they're just like, we don't want to pay for that. Y'all go to school, do what y'all got to do what you can, we're gonna ride this out and stuff like that. But I was talking to my mom about it, because she's real adamant about this. Like, she really doesn't, because, and it's not that she doesn't want to go back, it's the fact that proper countermeasures aren't in place to ensure safety on both the side of the child and the teacher. So she was saying, so we've been talking about this a lot. And her thing is, she was like, all it takes is one outbreak at any school across this nation, and then everyone's getting sent home again. So why are we risking another outbreak? It's one thing if we had a handle on it. It's one thing if we had a vaccine for all this kind of stuff, but we don't have a handle on it. Like that's the thing.
How you open up without a vaccine? That would be my ultimate.
We're getting to a point where we're asking, we're basically having to ask parents, like, are you okay if it's your kid that's the first one? Like,
as a governor, I'm like, I'm waiting on that vaccine. Sorry, y'all.
I mean,
that's what they should do.
Some essential businesses, yeah, sure, but
and here's the thing I'll say: either wait on the vaccine or wait on us to get to a point where we're like, I don't want to say necessarily New Zealand, because New Zealand's the best at it right now. They did, out of all countries in the world, New Zealand got it right.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I can't remember how many days they've gone without a single, COVID case. But at least get to a point where we're not seeing thousands. We just had spikes in Texas, Florida,
New Zealand flattened the curve.
Georgia. Say what?
New Zealand flattened the curve.
New Zealand was always low because of the way their populace is set up. They like most of the people where they live,
they live social distance.
Like 5 miles away. Like they already live social distancing in general. So, like,
there's not too much international traffic coming in and out of New Zealand.
No, there isn't.
You gotta.
So that's why, like, I was saying, best case scenario would be New Zealand, but most of the things, like, at least, and everyone keeps saying flatten the curve, but I'm just like, can we just go a day where multiple states aren't having thousands of cases?
Right.
Like that's the thing. If we can just have much, because there really is no number. We can't sit here and say, if we can just go a day where we have 500 cases or 200 cases or 50 cases, because no number is a good number.
I think we got double.
The number that we want is 0. We want 0 cases.
5 times as much as we got right now. Literally up to 5 times as much.
And the funny thing is, when all this started for the U.S. back in March, everybody was fighting like, no, we can't, because I think it was Italy at that time. They had shut down for like 2 weeks or their plan was to shut down for 2 weeks. Everyone was like, no, we can't shut down for 2 weeks.
Right.
Here we are 3-4 months later, and them 2 weeks was looking kind of good if we could have done it.
Right. This is just stupid. Again, handled poorly from the very beginning, and just at the top level, it's like.
Yeah, I would. If I was in charge of all of this right now, I would shoot everybody out another stimulus real quick. Be like, yo, this is for groceries.
Grab everyone hasn't even gotten the first stimulus.
And stay your ass at
There's
home.
definitely people that still ain't get the first one yet.
I'm still delivering those checks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. I forgot people got checks. I forgot.
Hey, everyone, make sure that you tip your local postal worker.
Yeah, make sure you set up that direct deposit on the IRS website.
Yeah. Also,
that is another thing. Like, why are people still getting IRS checks mailed to them and not
because
a lot of people don't have bank accounts.
Yeah, they need a bank.
A lot of people.
Man,
a lot of people.
Well, no, I'll say if it's older
accounts.
people that are still getting the checks, that's a pass for me because I know that a lot of them don't trust the banks and stuff like that. But if you're young and you're getting a check mailed to you from the IRS, you're either on the run or you're on the run.
People make mistakes.
Why are you running?
People bank accounts closed, or people don't know how to get set up with a bank. Like, there's a lot of information out there that people, aren't privy to, and a lot of it's self-inflicted, but a lot of it is just, they weren't taught, they didn't have the guidelines to, be able to lead them in the direction and be able to do the things that we might look at as basic. You know what I mean? So, everybody's situation is a little bit different. So,
That's true.
Fact.
Yeah.
Let's just hope we get a handle on this. Some company just got like $1.6 billion towards this.
If you have a company that's out there and you can go ahead and apply for that SBA loan, you may not qualify for the loan if your credit doesn't meet the requirements, but you may qualify for the grant. So again, if you had a business running in 2019, I would strongly suggest y'all out there to go ahead and apply for that loan. And that's between me and y'all.
Nice.
So SGA's been running for how long? 2017?
And this
we got checked when we was official, but I don't want to get into none of that, man. We're not talking about the pockets. We talking about the Rockets.
Next thing you know, everybody's like, "Yo, SGA, they weren't that big, and now all of a sudden, these guys out here walking with millions of dollars and everything." Yeah, man, it's just
I'm making it rain. Video.
Wow.
But on a serious note, I really hope that we definitely need to get a handle on COVID, number one. And two, I really hope that they really look at the school system or the school policy that they're doing, forcing people to open in the fall. Because if not, more people gonna be like y'all.
Yep. I got we homeschooling to the T, and people thought we was crazy before. Now people looking at what's going on, like, oh, it's kind of making sense. But a lot of people can't handle having your kids around 24/7.
No.
It's very serious. Having your children 24/7, they don't go anywhere. They just stand there and wait for you to tell them what to do.
See, blink twice if you're in distress right now.
Seriously,
he needs some help.
Yo,
help me. I was saying,
he's not wrong.
I was saying help.
I'm like.
Go hit me.
Hey, you see, like his video just like cuts off.
Yeah,
like he comes back, his clothes are all ripped up and everything.
Oh snap! Oh shoot! What I do with my camera?
See, now he all messed
broke
up.
His old camera all up.
How'd I do that?
Is that his phone?
Yeah,
Sure.
it is my phone.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There you go. We back, baby.
Android problems.
Lies, don't do that.
I did it.
Well, it's
been done.
You did, but
I did.
All right. Anybody got something to close us out with? Any
Man,
last minute topics?
These nuts.
Why did he say it so proud though? He's just like, he's nuts.
Yeah, the ribbon on that shit.
Close it out with these. So it just came out that way. But yeah.
You had something, see?
Yeah, these